morning, and welcome to the virtual Greater Boston Church of Spiritualism on this wonderful summer Sunday morning, or whenever it is you're watching this. Please join me in our opening prayer. Infinite Spirit, beloved God, we ask for your blessing as we gather today in community and in harmony with one another. Fill our hearts with your light, with your love. Fill our minds with your inspiration and guidance. Help us to be the light in this planet. Help us to work together as one beautiful light of love so that we may uplift this planet and make our world a better place. Bring your comfort and your light to all those who are grieving, to all those lost in sorrow, to all those lost to anger and bitterness over the racism that has been expressed in this world. Help us to come together in unity and in harmony and bring your love and your light into every being so that we remember that we all matter, each one of us a part of you. We ask that you bring our loved ones today to help us, to remember that we are eternal beings, that we're a part of you. Help us to remember that life and love continues into eternity, and that we are all one in your light and in your love. For this knowledge we give thanks as we say, Amen. We have all seen the violence that has been occurring not only in our country, in our cities, but even around the world. So we dedicate our service today to peace and to nonviolence and to George Floyd and his family, whose tragic death is changing the world. I begin our service with an inspirational thought that was written by Martin Luther King Jr. Violence never brings permanent peace. It solves no social problem. It merely creates new and more complicated ones. Violence is impractical, because it is a descending spiral ending in destruction for all. It is immoral because it seeks to humiliate the opponent rather than win his understanding. It seeks to annihilate rather than convert. Violence is immoral because it thrives on hatred rather than love. It destroys community and makes brotherhood impossible. It leaves society in monologue rather than dialogue. Violence ends up defeating itself. It creates bitterness in the survivors and brutality in the destroyers. Let us all come together in light and love this day and every day so that we can eradicate the violence that has taken over our world. And please join us in our healing prayer, which will be on the bottom of the screen. I ask the great unseen healing force to remove all obstruction from my mind and body and to restore me to perfect health. I ask this in all sincerity and honesty, and I will do my part. I ask this great unseen healing force to help both present and absent ones who are in need of help, and to restore them to perfect health. I put my trust in the love and the power of God. And now it is time for our healing meditation, a time where we can let go of the struggles, let go of the pain and the sorrow, and open to the light and love of God, and simply relax in our sacred space. So I ask you to just get comfortable wherever you are, and just breathe and allow the peace and the light and the love of God that is always around you to flow in with your breath. Breathe slowly so that your breath can relax you and bring you into a state of peace where you can open to the healing power that is here for you. So just close your eyes and take a nice deep breath. Breathing in deeply and breathing out slowly. Letting go of the stress, the pain, the sorrow. Letting go of anything you're holding inside that blocks you from love. And allow your breath to relax every part of that body. Breathing in and imagining that light flowing through every particle, moving through every muscle, through every bone, through every joint, filling every cell, and reminding your body of its perfect state of ease. And as you breathe in this light, just feel it flowing through your body, from the top of your head all the way down to the tip of your toes, relaxing, soothing, calming, bringing you into your own sacred space, where you are free, where you are able to receive love and to give love. As your body relaxes, you feel it filling your mind, quieting those thoughts, and filling you with a knowing that you are loved beyond measure in every moment of every day, that you are spirit above all else. Allow your mind to expand in this love. Let it fill your mind with positive thoughts that will carry you forward. And as your mind expands and your body relaxes, feel your emotional body being cleansed as this light of God washes through you, and you let go of all of the negative emotions you may be holding on to in that body. Letting go and allowing love to fill you. Allowing yourself to be brought back into who and what you are as a beautiful spirit of God. Feel your heart filling with light, filling with love, reminding you who you are. And as your heart opens and expands, you feel yourself being lifted, being carried on the wings of angels to a place of peace, to a sacred place where you are safe, where all is well, where love exists, true and perfect love, divine love. And imagine yourself being placed gently down by a beautiful river. And as you sit by this river watching the flow of life, here is a place where you can release and let go of all the things that you have held in your heart that has blocked you from loving, from living in a state of compassion and understanding. Allow yourself to release the judgments, the angers, the bitterness, the regrets, the sorrow, the grief, all these things we've held in our hearts and our minds and our bodies. Allow them to flow out from you. Release them and let them go into that river of life, where they may be transformed into positive energy that can help us to move forward. And as you release all these things from yourself, feel the light of God filling you, bringing you a deep, profound peace, the peace of knowing that all is well, the peace of knowing that you are a part of God, that you are a part of all that is. And as you open your heart, you can feel God's love filling you, bringing you back to that place of love and peace, in unity and in harmony, opening your heart in compassion and understanding for all beings. As your heart extends, feel that light flowing through you and out from you, radiating from you as you choose to release everything but love, so that you may be in a state of peace right here, right now. And you can carry that peace wherever you go, that compassion and that love. As you breathe and feel that love filling you and flowing out from you, feel yourself being lifted once again high above into a dark night sky. And feel yourself like a beautiful star radiating your love and your light out to the world beneath you. And feel your light flowing out and connecting to every other being in the planet, reminding every being that we are all parts of God. We are all sparks of light, radiating light into our world, helping it to heal. That is who we are. We are the light bearers, the light bringers, each and every one of us, so that we may heal our world. And as we heal ourselves with this light, with this connection, with this love, we do our part to heal the world. So feel that perfect love filling you and flowing out from you, radiating into our world, from without and from within, filling the world with harmony and peace, with unity, with compassion, with kindness and gentleness. And let us hold our world in our hearts. Let us hold each other in our hearts together as one, loving one another. For now is the time to be as loving as you can possibly be, to do the work, to release what no longer serves you or this world. Let us come together in harmony in this light and do our part to create peace and harmony and love wherever we are. Feel the support of your loved ones, your guides, your angels, your teachers, all around you, helping to guide your way so that you may keep your heart open and share this love wherever you are, and do your part to create the new world where there is no racism or injustice. It's all up to us and how we live each moment of every day. Feeling that support, feeling the love around us, feeling the love within us. Take a nice deep breath and allow yourself to gently come back to the room, feeling whole, complete, and perfect, and free. Free to be who you truly are, as a divine spark of God, shining brightly wherever you are. Take another nice deep breath now, feeling yourself grounding back to this life and this world. And as you ground, open your eyes and smile. And share that smile in the energy of love with all you encounter today and every day. And if we are all back, let us recite a declaration of principles which will appear on the screen beneath. And know that these principles are guidelines to help us live our lives in the best possible way. So please read them with me. We believe in infinite spirit and that God is infinite spirit. We believe that the phenomena of nature, both physical and spiritual, are the expression of infinite spirit. We affirm that a correct understanding of such expression and living in accordance therewith constitute true religion. We affirm that the existence and personal identity of an individual continue after the change called death. We affirm that communication with the so-called dead is a fact scientifically proven by the phenomena of spiritualism. We believe that the highest morality is contained in the Golden Rule. Whatsoever ye would that others should do unto you, do ye also unto them. We affirm the moral responsibility of the individual, and that they make their own happiness or unhappiness as they obey nature's physical and spiritual laws. We affirm that the doorway to reformation is never closed against any human soul here or hereafter. And we affirm the precepts of prophecy and healing contained in the Bible are divine attributes proven through mediumship. So today, I want to talk to you about grief. Many have lost people during this time, many from COVID-19, and many from many other causes. When we suffer the loss of someone we love, It can feel like our hearts were pierced with the sword. Our sadness pours out and overwhelms us. We grieve what we have lost, the physical presence that we will touch no more. But in the piercing of our hearts with grief and sadness, there is also an opening that leads directly to the love we hold within us. We open to that part of us that loves deeply and greatly. And this is the best part of all of us that gets buried under all the walls we create to protect ourselves from being hurt. Sorrow penetrates these walls. It opens our hearts and helps us to know that we love, that we feel more than we ever understood. When sorrow pierces our hearts, we have a choice to love our way through the pain into healing by keeping our hearts open, or to close them once again and bury ourselves under layers of non-feeling where we think we are safe. That safety is just an illusion. It is a hiding place from life and from love. There are many stages of grief that we all go through, although we are all unique in the ways we move through it. The first is denial, when we can't face our loss and it seeps in slowly. Being hit head-on is often too much for us to bear. So denial is a protective way of taking it in a little at a time. The next stage is anger. We find ourselves angry and becoming angry easily, or being irritated by the smallest things. Being aware that this is our grief, we can understand and choose not to react and to love ourselves instead by giving us what we need. We become depressed, often overwhelmed, the third stage of grief. We can feel helpless, incapable of making a decision or even getting out of bed in the morning. We retreat, but with an open heart, we can move quicker into the place where we begin to reach out and talk to others. We struggle to find meaning in our loss, and reaching out to others, accepting the love they have for us, helps us to move into acceptance and healing. We begin to explore life without the physical presence of those we lost. We begin to smile at their memory instead of cry. As we accept life without them with an open heart, we are able to receive the love that others have for us as they help to carry us forward. Sometimes we need to fly on the wings of others for a time. We learn to appreciate those we still have. We begin to count our blessings and share our love with everyone. When we choose not to rebuild the walls of protection and separation, when we choose not to put on blinders to who we really are, we can move on with clarity and a renewed sense of purpose. Often we don't realize that we have built these walls until the sword of sorrow opens us. But we can use our sorrow to change and to become more loving. Then those who left us have not died in vain. They will feel the blessings they brought to those who loved them. We are right now in a world of grief. We have lost not only those we loved, we have lost the world as we know it, and it keeps changing. And it is full of sadness. The horrible murder of George Floyd has brought the best and worst out in everyone. We appear to be a country split in violence and anger, but please don't be fooled. Good, loving, peaceful people stand peacefully to make a statement. Racism will no longer be tolerated. They protested peacefully, but they were infiltrated by rioters who were using the protests to create chaos and destruction. We saw young people stealing, out to get what they could for free, breaking windows. We saw them taunting the police to see how far they could go like little children. These young people were led by subversive groups, terrorists, trying to undermine and tear apart our country. These groups instigate the young, the poor, the unloved, and impressionable. And they hand them bricks and sit back and watch the destruction. The violence that we saw was instigated. It was not part of the protest. We must stand united in peace. We must be the example. We must take charge of our youth and love them. Instill in them self-worth and integrity, respect and honor, and a desire to make a difference for good instead of evil. We must teach self-respect and self-dignity and show our youth how to stand for what is right and good in peaceful, productive ways, and warn them of those who would use them and undermine them in the creation of havoc and destruction. We must help them to let go of their anger and remove the walls of separation so that we can stand together against any injustice in the right way. Do not let these instances create yet another layer of separation between us. Let us open our hearts, remove the layers, and do what we can to fix the problems of our country and our world. Let us communicate with the superintendents of our police department and our government and insist they remove the racist criminals that have infiltrated their ranks. We must remember the bad apples must be removed, lest they spoil the whole bunch. We have many wonderful, caring police officers. These are the men and women who have put their lives on the line to protect us. These are the men and women we saw hugging the protesters. And these are the men and women who must speak out when one of their own is violating the trust that has been placed upon them as peace officers. Let us pray that the death of this young man finally brings about the changes within all organizations and within all hearts that has been needed for so long. Let the message be clear. Racism will no longer be tolerated because all lives matter. Let us look into our own hearts and make sure we clear out our hearts first of judgments and bias. There is no room for violence and hatred in our world. For violence and hatred only begets violence and hatred. Peace and love will bring peace and love. Please let us return to a peaceful nation. Let us not give these subversive groups any more opportunity to create chaos and destruction to use us, the American people, who come from all nations and countries of the world. If there is one place on this planet where racism should not exist, it is here. For we are a melting pot of all kinds of people, of every color, of every nationality, of every creed. But we are one people under God. We will not be victims. We will not be used. We will not be sheep. We are loving people who must lead with our hearts and remember who we are as spirit, as a part of God. No matter what our physical appearance, We all hold the essence of God within us. Let the divine within us lead our way on a path of peace, to create a loving world where every being is valued, where we stand together for what is right. And those subversive groups, let us pray for them to see the light. For all that is not good has its own seed of destruction within itself. We must remember that. Let us hold the light and keep our hearts open to love and create a world and a country in harmony, unity, and love. I'd like to share a quote I read this week by L.R. Nost. Do not be dismayed by the brokenness of the world. All things break, and all things can be mended. Not with time, as they say, but with intention. So go. Love intentionally. Love unconditionally. The broken world waits in darkness for the light that is you. Stand strong. Share your love. Treat everyone with respect and be the example the young people need. Inspire with your light. Do not create walls between us. Let your light shine, and may we all practice nonviolence together. Nonviolence is more positive than the absence of violence. It means to respect the rights of others, to be concerned about their well-being based on a sense of compassion and love. Create peaceful, gentle relations with all human beings and with our environment and all creatures who live in harmony with it. Let us be gentle and strong and become the change we need to see in our world. We are all one. Let us live with love and compassion and remember we are all brothers and sisters in humanity. I'd like to share a poem that one of my students offered that was channeled from Spirit. This was written by Elisa Kupperman. I am a speck of God's light. As a human, I live for a blink. As a light, I shine for eternity. I am everything and nothing, the Alpha and the Omega. I am the void and the endless sky. I am formless yet conscious. I breathe as you breathe, and I love as you love. I hold you in my arms to remind you that you matter. Your life is but a blink, yet how you live your life is what matters. Your actions create the matter upon which the universe is built. Kindness and love to all sentient beings is what connects you to the great grid of the universe. That's the key to your evolution as humanity. Each speck of God's light unites with other specks until there are as many of you as stars in the sky, and it hums the universal song of love to remind you that you're a speck of God's light. As a human, you live for a blink, and as the light, you shine for eternity. Those are beautiful words, and let us remember them as we go forward into our world and do what we can to change the world. And there is also something that we can do every day, and that's sending our love into the world and feeling that connection. The Heart Math Institute has created a global coherence app that you can have on your phone, and people are connecting all over the world to change the world, to fill it with love and compassion. And the prayer is that we replace our reactions of judgment and blame and separation with compassion, kindness, cooperation, and peace. Let us come together as one. Let us stand together as one, united for what is right. and let us change the world so that we all may finally be equal.
There are moments of solitude, feeling heartbroken, lost, buried in anguish, wishing for an intervention we fear may never come. Yet we march on, striving for that extra mile in a race we thought we could not finish. We march on, bleeding for a cause we feel so deeply in our bones. We march on, fighting for peace in a world so bitterly torn. We march on, creating works of art with our minds and souls, flooding into the pigments. We march on. Those moments of darkness feel as if they have filled every crevice of our being. Yet we march on, guided by the fact that we have a light within us and protectively around us, filling us with hope we did not know was possible. So we march on.
And now it's time for our spirit communication, a time when we connect to the highest side of life and truly prove that life and love continues. And I will connect to the spirit world and bring to you whoever comes. You know, I don't know who's out there watching, but I know that the spirit world does. So I will attempt to bring through their evidence and their wisdom. And please, if you recognize these beautiful souls that come through, let us know. Send us an email that you've received your message loud and clear and that you recognize the evidence that they bring. They really are here to share their wisdom, to help us move through what we need to move through in life. And they love to give us what they learned in their lives so that we may be helped. And that is a blessing to all of us. So even if you don't recognize the particular spirit that comes in, they have been coming in groups with a message. So take the message and know that it's meant for everyone, not just one individual. So let's see who's coming to visit us today and uplift us in this time of struggle. Okay, I feel like I have a gentleman who comes in very strongly as he stands with me. I feel like he's very tall, and he feels like a black gentleman. He has very dark skin as he stands behind me. And I feel like he's someone who would have been a preacher, because I feel like I have a Bible in my hand. So I feel like he would have been very connected to a church and would have been someone who would have spoke to the public and helped others who were lost sheep. He's talking about the sheep, and he's coming in to say, we are sheep of God, and God will guide us. And I feel like he's coming in to stand in a place of pride and dignity. He was a gentleman who led many people, and he helped people through a lot of difficulties, a lot of tragedies, and a lot of struggle in their own lives. I feel like in his environment, I feel like his church was rather small, or his congregation was tight-knit. I don't feel him in this area. I feel like he might be in a warmer climate as he comes in, because I see people sitting in the church waving their fans with their little hats on. So I'm going back in time with him. I feel like I'm getting the sense of the 1950s with him when he was preaching to his flock. So I feel like he is definitely related to someone who is watching the service right now, someone in our congregation. I feel like he is on a grandfather's generation, and he would have set a very strict guideline, he says, for his family. And he's telling me that his family had a tough line to rock because he was very strict in his faith and in his beliefs. And he expected his family to walk that line with him, although some in the family wanted to move in a different direction. So I feel like this gentleman is talking to everyone, but also to a granddaughter who's out there, and trying to help that granddaughter understand the ways that her parents went in different directions, because I get the sense that his son was more of a rebel and didn't follow in his footsteps. And he said, as he learned in life, he said, everybody must walk their own pathway, but every pathway leads to learning and growth. And I feel like as he's connecting to his son who's in spirit, he's letting us know that his son walked the path that he needed to walk. And it had a lot of great learning for him and a lot of wisdom. And as he says that, I feel like his son, and the person's father, is coming in to say, I learned what I needed to learn in life, and we all must follow our own pathway and our own hearts. But when we stay in alignment with our hearts, it leads us in the right direction. When we go in the direction of our ego or our earthly desires, it leads us in the wrong direction. So he's coming in to say, teach the balance. Teach the children, teach the young that there's got to be a balance, that they need to walk their path, they need to follow their heart, they need to create in their own unique ways. But they must be aware that there are parts of them that will lead them in the wrong direction. And they must stay true to their hearts and not their egos or their earthly desires if they want to make something that is good with their lives. I feel like I have the preacher coming back in again, and he's standing strong and tall, and he's talking about how important it is to live with integrity and honor. That if you go against your integrity, then you are your own enemy, and that never works out well. So he says, when you follow the wrong path, you are creating a life that goes in the opposite direction of what you're meant to do and meant to be. Always follow your heart, and because it's within your heart of love that God resides and will always lead you. And I feel like as you stand tall and strong in pride of who you are, with self-respect and integrity, you will create not only your life, but all the lives around you in a wonderful way. So I'm going to leave you with their blessings. It's a father and son who are coming in to a daughter and granddaughter. And I feel like they have a beautiful message for all of us to stand tall in who we are, to stand strong, and to be who you were meant to be by following your heart and not your head. And I leave you with their blessings and lots of love. Such strength they bring to all people at this particular time. And I have another gentleman who's coming in, and I feel like as he comes in, I feel like he's kind of an easygoing guy, and I feel like he's coming in very young. I feel like he would have passed at a young age. I feel like in his 20s, young 20s, he would have passed. And I feel like he was a soldier in the Vietnam War is what he's showing me. So he's coming in from that 60s, 70s era. And he's talking about how difficult life was then. And he's also talking about how he was involved with the protests against the war, and then was drafted and ended up in Vietnam and ended up losing his life. And he said sometimes you just have to stand up for what you believe in. But you also, he said, I followed the path that I needed to follow. And he said, when I went into the service, I became much more patriotic than I was when I was out there holding the sign. But he said his experience gave him something that built strength in his soul. And he said even though his life was short, he learned so much from his experiences in life and the many different people he interacted with. I feel like he's saying, I got a different view when I was over there of how the people of Vietnam had to live. And my heart went out to those who were suffering there. And he said, when I was over there, I learned that all beings need to be honored and respected, that no one should be put down ever. And he said, and I was fighting for that. I wasn't my country I was fighting for. I was fighting for the people that were being put down and oppressed and injured and hurt. And he said, so my life, I stood for something that was more important than me. And he said, and I'm honored, I was honored to be able to do that. So he said, even though my life was short, my lessons, my learning, and my impact had a great message for everyone. He said, always respect and honor every individual. That's what he learned in his life. And I'm asking who he connects to out here. And I feel like he's talking to friends who may be watching. I feel like not so much his family, that he doesn't believe his family would be watching the service, but he does know some friends are watching it, people who knew him and people who loved him and laughed with him and maybe drank a few beers with him. I feel like he was a real easygoing guy when he was young and free, and he would get involved in some of the protests because that's what everybody was doing. But I feel like his memories to the people that he's connecting to are more of fun and party and young teenage years. And he's showing me the beach and water and boats and Nantasket, Paragon Park. He's bringing me all these memories of things that he experienced when he was young. And he said, I'm bringing that joy as well, because you have to have fun and you have to enjoy life and you have to make the most of every moment. And he said, I did that. And I did that because I didn't get all stressed out about things. I just sort of went with the flow of life. He said, I didn't get my full learning until I got into the service and got over to Vietnam. And that's what my life was meant to teach me. So even though my life was short, I went at the right time because he knows he would not have been the same guy, the same happy-go-lucky guy had he returned to live in the United States. So he said, my life was not in vain. I learned a lot, and I stood up for what was right, and that's what was important. So I'm going to leave you with his blessings. I'm seeing the letter D, so there's a letter D in his name as he leaves, but I feel like he wants to bring that easygoing, love and happy-go-lucky guy back to the hearts of those who connect to him, and let them know that his life really made a difference, and that everything we do that helps another being makes a difference as well. So I leave you with his blessings and lots of love. Okay. I have a woman who's coming in. She's coming into the side of me. I feel like she would have had light hair, and it feels like shoulder length to me as she comes in. She feels older when she passed. I would say she's in her 60s, not a very old age, but in an older time. So she's telling me that she lived to be into her 60s, but she lived a full life, and she enjoyed life, and she had a lot of people around her. I feel like she would have worked for a living. I see her in an office, but I feel like the office is in like a really big building in like downtown, and I feel like she had a really good job, and she would have supervised and been in charge of a lot of people, because she's showing me this, her office, and then this big area where a whole lot of people worked. So I feel like she supervised them, and she doled out the work to them. I felt like she was a very loving and compassionate person. I feel like she was kind to the people that worked under her, and I feel like she's talking about how she tried always to be fair, and that she tried to understand the differences within the many people that worked for her. Because she said, in my job, I recognized that every single person was unique. Every single person had different experiences and different needs and different experiences that either hindered them or helped them. So she said, as I worked with people over years, over time, I began to understand who people were within themselves and not just what I saw head on. And she said, when I went into my line of work, I saw people for what I saw. I looked at them and saw their physical appearance. But as I worked with them, I got to understand in a little deeper way why they did the things they did, and why they might have been happy or not happy in their lives. And I found ways that I could uplift them and help them in the everyday life, not big ways, little ways. And she's saying, I'm coming in to let people know that you help people in little ways. There are big things that people think they need to do, but in reality, what you need to do is treat people with love and respect every day, in every little way that you can. I felt like she was very compassionate as she dealt with people, and she would give them what she felt they needed in each day to help them through the day. She would be compassionate and understanding when people wouldn't be at work or needed to go with their children. She kept her heart open in her work, and she said, my work was my ministry. She said, and we all must understand that we all have our own ministry in life. We all go out and we're interacting with the world, and this is where we prove ourselves. This is where we grow. This is where we learn. So we need to be excited about going back into life with people, and how we interact with them will help to create a wonderful world. You can only fill your world with light and love, but that will flow out. And I feel like she's talking to her daughters as she's coming in. So I feel like she would have had 3 daughters, and as she's talking to me, I feel like she was a very kind and loving mother. And I feel like her work didn't really take hold until her children were grown, because I feel like she was home with her children when they were little. And then when they were old enough to sort of fend for themselves and make decisions for themselves, that's when she started to climb the ladder in her position and started to move up and become the supervisor that she was before she passed to the spirit world. I feel like she was still working when she passed. I feel like she had an illness that took her. I feel like she would have had cancer before she passed or something like that, because I feel like I'm diminishing in size and in energy. And then I felt like she passed quickly once people understood what was going on with her. So I feel like she held her illness in for a long time and just continued to plow along, and then she went really quickly after she let her kids know and her employees know what was going on with her. But she's saying, I did it my way, and I used every minute that I could to make a difference in the world. And she's saying she's very proud of her children for continuing on that path that she instilled in them, a need to do something for the higher good, and to always be looking out to see what needs to be done. So she's encouraging everyone to just, it's in the little ways that you help people. It's in the little ways that you show your sense of respect for others and treat everyone kindly, because she says, I always treated people with kindness, and that's what I always got back. So if you're expecting people to be mean and ugly to you, they will be. If you're expecting them to be kind and loving, they will be. So she's saying, live the way you want to be treated, and know that that will come back to you. And she said, my life was filled with blessings. And she said, I have no regrets with my life. I lived it lovingly and kindly. And that's my message to everyone, to live lovingly and kindly and respect everyone around you. And I leave you with her blessings and lots of love. Yeah, thank you. Oh, nice. What a nice spirit. Just lovely lady. Okay, and I feel like there's one more that's trying to break through the door and charge forward. I feel like this is a gentleman who's coming in as well, and he charges in, and I feel like he's a big guy. I feel like I'm a bull in a china cabinet as he comes in, and I feel like he's saying he lived with strength. He's a really strong guy, but I feel like he's such a gentle giant, because as he comes in, I feel like I got a heart of gold, and I feel like he would have, I just keep seeing the bull in the china closet, because he'd come into a room and his girth was so big that he'd knock things over and apologize for it. But I felt like he was so gentle and so loving and so kind. And he said, I couldn't hurt a fly. I looked like I could hurt a whole lot of people, but I just didn't have it in me to hurt anybody. And he was a soft and gentle soul who really wanted to be good and help people and do things. I feel like he was involved in helping people, was most of what he did in life. I feel like that was his life's work. I feel like he was intelligent. He did have, I feel like I have a degree in psychology, because I feel like I have a really good grasp of understanding people. So I feel like he would have counseled people, and people would have listened to him. I also feel like I'm giving talks and educating people on how to understand the core of individuals. So I feel like he was well educated, and he had a good grasp of the psyche of individuals, and that was his work that he did, to try to help people out of their anger and out of their separateness and out of their depression and out of their grief and sorrow. And he's coming in to say we can all do that in many different ways. He said his goal was to uplift and to help people move through the difficulties of life. And I don't feel like he's very old when he passed. I feel like there's an illness that takes him across, and I feel like he leaves his partner that is still here. And I feel like the partner may do similar work. I feel like they had a lot in common. But I feel like his passing was really a tragedy to his partner and his patients. But he said, I did what I came to do. And I feel like in educating other people, he felt like he was able to pass on what he had within him so that others would honor and his memory and think of him and think of the things that he taught them as they helped other people. So he says sometimes you help other people one-on-one, and sometimes you teach other people how to help other people. And he said, and it's all good. We all have a part to play in this world, and we're all here to help one another, and we should never forget that. And I feel like he comes with a lot of love for the people that were in his life, for his friends, for his partner, for his patients. And he said, I hope that I made a difference in your life, but I want to instill in you that you can make a difference in other people's lives. So please open your hearts and live with gentleness with one another and help each other through the difficulties. There's a lot of heavy difficulties right now. There's a lot of sorrow and grief and pain and hurt. And we need to get through this with love. And he said, you can get through this with love, with compassion, and with peace in your hearts to listen deeply and be present with each other. He said, we all have to learn how to listen and really hear what the other person is saying, because so often the words don't express. It's when we deep listen that we understand what's underneath those words. So he taught that, and I feel like he's teaching us all to listen deeply to each other and hear the pain that is under the words so that you can help to heal it. Because everyone is walking around in pain right now. And it's time to heal the wounds and move forward. So he's around to help everyone and to help his partner especially, to help other people to heal their wounds so that she may heal hers. So I'm going to leave you with his love and blessings and his really great wisdom. And I feel like the spirit world has really gathered today to help us to understand how to treat one another, how to love one another. And I do feel a beautiful light coming in from the spirit world that is helping us to know we can do this. We can change the world. We can eradicate the hatred. And we can stand in unity and harmony. And we can love each other. That is a very strong possibility. But it's up to each and every one of us. So we thank all of the spirits who have come in today to assist us and help us. And remember, they're always there to give us the guidance and love that we need. They're only a thought and a prayer away. So open your heart, receive their love, receive their wisdom and their guidance, and know they will be there for you whenever you need them. And send your love out to them because they do get it. And now just a few announcements before we close our service. Next Sunday on June 14th at 1 p.m., we will be having a live Zoom gathering with Dominic Bogue. And we've put together a Zoom gathering where we'll have a brief meditation, some healing, and then messages from the spirit side of life with Dominic, followed by hopefully some social interaction in the Zoom private rooms between members of the community. So we hope you'll join us. A link will be going out in our email. So if you're not on our email list, please join as soon as you can, because that link will go out soon so that you can link into our Zoom gathering. We're planning on holding these monthly on the second Sunday of the month during the summer, and also on the second Wednesday of the month during the summer at 7 p.m. So the Sunday gatherings will be at 1 p.m. and the Wednesday evening gatherings will be at 7 p.m. And they will be live, so you need to be on time if you want to get in And the link will be sent out so that you click on that and just come in and hopefully receive messages from the spirit side of life and connect to the community. So we hope you'll join us. Sunday services will continue on the other Sundays, and please make sure to like the page, join the email, and also please, if you can, send in donations to the Greater Boston Church of Spiritualism.com. There is a donate button on our website, and we really appreciate, since we can't pass the basket around in our services or our Zoom meetings, but we appreciate any donation that you can make. So we thank you for your generosity, and we thank you for joining us. And let us close our service with a prayer. Infinite Spirit God, we thank you for the love, the peace, the light that you have filled us with. Help us to carry your presence within our hearts so that we can move in unity with all others and shine your light into the world. Lead us from darkness into light. Lead us from falsehood to truth. Lead us from despair to hope, from fear to trust. Let peace fill our hearts, our country, and our world. And let us dream together, work together to build one world of peace and justice for all. May we all be one and united in love. Amen. Thanks for joining us.